Welcome back to Horoscope TV. It's genuinely so good to have you here with us today. We are turning our gaze toward what I think is probably one of the most fascinating charts of the zodiac,
Absolutely, the kings and queens themselves.
right? The kings and queens. We are talking about Leo, and specifically, we are doing a dedicated analysis of the astrological forecast for March 2026.
Which is, it's always a treat to analyze the charts for Leo, but especially for this specific month. I mean, I've been poring over the ephemeris and the transit tables, and there's a tremendous amount of activity.
Yeah.
It's dense.
It is. I was looking over the notes and the data we have, and dense really feels like the right word. It actually feels like a month of just absolute contrasts to me. Like we have these massive highs, right? These moments of pure adrenaline and solar power, but then some very serious grounding moments too.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Almost like a narrative arc that just refuses to stay in one genre.
Exactly. I was thinking if I were to write a headline for Leo in March 2026, it would probably be something like, from the slow burn to the wildfire.
Ooh, I like that.
Because it is a month of intense energy and personal transformation. We are really seeing a story that moves from this necessary, perhaps slightly heavy introspection straight into a heart-racing adventure.
Right.
And then finally ending with a very mature reality check.
Which they might not love, but they need. I love that arc, though. It sounds very cinematic. So let's just let's unpack this headline. What is the core theme driving all of this? Because Leo is a fire sign, obviously, but looking at the start of the month, it doesn't look very fiery.
No, you've hit the nail on the head there. The core theme is the return of fire. Because Leo is fixed fire naturally, but the month begins with a lot of water and earth energy.
Right, the Pisces influence.
Exactly, specifically from Pisces.
Yeah.
And the influence of an eclipse, which we'll get into. And that might feel a bit dampening or heavy, like a wet blanket. However, the dominant shift as we move forward is toward this incredible wave of intensity driven by fire energy, specifically Aries energy. It's about shifting from a stagnant routine into what the astrological data actually points to as heart-racing excitement.
Heart-racing excitement. I think every Leo listening just sat up a little straighter. Because that is their fuel.
It absolutely is. And they should be excited. We have major players on the board this month.
For sure.
We have Venus, the planet of love and beauty and values. We have the sun, which is Leo's ruling planet, obviously critical. We have Saturn, the taskmaster, and we have that critical lunar eclipse to kick things off.
It's a completely stacked lineup. It's definitely not a quiet month.
No, it is not. And the main thing for you to keep in mind as we go through this analysis is the timing. While the month starts with this incredible, almost desperate desire to explore new horizons and break free, it ends with a strict reality check from the universe.
Right.
It's not a bad thing, but it's a very distinctive shift in tone.
So it's like, enjoy the party, but make sure you do the dishes afterwards.
Precisely. You have to earn the fun.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. The first section of our analysis is all about this general energy and personal growth. You mentioned the fire returning. When does the spark actually light up? Because if the beginning is damp, when do we get the match?
The spark ignites on March 6th. That is the exact date when Venus enters Aries.
Okay, and for Leo, Venus in Aries is a good thing, right? I know Aries and Leo usually get along.
Oh, it is fantastic because Aries is cardinal fire, right? It's the initiator, the spark. Leo is fixed fire. It's the sustainer, the bonfire.
Oh, that makes sense.
So when Venus, which governs what we value and how we relate to others, moves into Aries, it forms a trine to the Leo placement. It harmonizes beautifully with Leo's natural nature. Think about Aries energy. It's bold, it's pioneering, it's highly impulsive.
So it feeds that deep Leo desire to be seen and to do something big. It wakes them up, basically.
Exactly. The data suggests that starting March 6th, there is a massive surge in the desire to explore. It's all about expanding the mind and breaking free from routine. The key word here really is novelty.
Novelty. Yeah, I saw a note here that says the universe is practically begging them to find what makes their heart race. That sounds so visceral. It's not just, find a hobby. It's find a passion.
It is completely visceral. This isn't about sitting on the couch watching a documentary about travel.
Right.
This is about booking the ticket. Leos might find themselves suddenly planning trips, maybe to places they've never even considered before. Or if they can't travel for whatever reason, they might dive into some obscure subject of study.
Like suddenly deciding they need to learn absolutely everything about astrophysics or, 18th century French architecture.
Yes. Anything that breaks the monotony. The impulse is just, I need something new. I need to feel alive.
Yeah.
And because it's Venus, there's a strong pleasure principle involved. They aren't studying because they have to. They are doing it because it literally feels good to stretch the brain.
I love that. So that's the spark. But then we turn that spark into a raging bonfire later in the month, don't we?
We do. The blaze, as we might call it, happens on March 20th. This is the equinox. But specifically for Leo the sun, their ruler moves into Aries.
And the sun is where Leo gets their vitality. It's their ultimate battery charger.
Correct. When the sun is in Aries, it is exalted. It is immensely powerful. For Leo, this lights up their ninth house, the sector of philosophy, higher learning, and long-distance travel. This is peak optimism.
It's the I can do anything phase of the month.
That is the perfect way to describe it. Confidence just hits a high watermark here. If there was any doubt lingering from the beginning of the month, that watery, foggy doubt, it evaporates on March 20th. They feel invincible. They feel like the main character in the movie again.
Which is exactly how Leo likes to feel. And there's always a but in astrology, isn't there?
Always.
We mentioned a reality check earlier, because you can't just run on pure rocket fuel forever. Right?
You really cannot. And the universe provides a braking mechanism very quickly. On March 25th, just 5 days after that peak confidence moment, the sun aligns with Saturn.
Oof, Saturn. The planet of eat your vegetables and pay your taxes.
That is a very fair characterization. Saturn is the planet of structure, discipline, limitation, and time. So when the sun meets Saturn in a conjunction, it is a sobering up moment. It's a very serious alignment.
So does this kill the vibe? I mean, does it ruin the party that the sun in Aries just started?
I wouldn't frame it as ruining the party. I would frame it as stabilizing the party. Think of it as the moment you sit down to map out the logistics of the dream. The days prior were about having the big vision, like I'm going to start a business or I'm going to move to Italy.
And March 25th is when you actually open the spreadsheet.
Yes. March 25th is when you realize you need a visa or you need capital or you need a business plan. The key lesson here is that dreaming just isn't enough. Leos are being asked to turn those big, gorgeous dreams into concrete plans.
So the advice for you listening is don't let this discourage you. Don't take the hurdle as a stop sign.
Not at all. This isn't a buzzkill. It's a structural necessity. If you want the dream to last, you have to build the foundation. Hard work is required to make that earlier optimism real. Saturn rewards the work. If you do the admin, if you do the boring stuff, the dream becomes sustainable.
That makes total sense. It's actually super helpful. It stops you from just floating away on a cloud of ideas and never actually doing anything.
Exactly. It anchors the potential into reality.
Speaking of anchors and reality, let's talk about money, because there is a major event happening right at the start of the month that deals with finances. And usually when we talk about money in astrology, people get a little nervous.
Yeah, the lunar eclipse on March 3rd.
Eclipses are always a huge deal, aren't they? They aren't just a regular full moon.
No, eclipses are major turning points. They force climaxes and endings. They speed up fate, essentially. A regular full moon illuminates things, but an eclipse can sometimes completely eclipse things out of your life. And this specific lunar eclipse hits Leo's financial sector, specifically the axis of the 2nd and 8th houses.
So cleaning house is the phrase that comes to mind here.
Absolutely. This is about looking very closely at values, resources, and spending habits. Because it's an eclipse, it often reveals things that were hidden or brings a situation to a head that you've been maybe ignoring.
Like realizing you've been spending way too much on things that don't actually bring you joy, or realizing you're bleeding money on subscriptions you literally never use.
Precisely. There is a strong psychological impact here. The 2nd house isn't just cash, it's what you value, it's self-worth. It's about the need to let go of attachments to material things that no longer serve the Leo. We accumulate stuff. Subscriptions, we don't use gadgets. We don't need habits that drain the bank account. And we do it because we think they make us feel secure.
Oh, man. I feel like we all have that one subscription we keep forgetting to cancel. Or that gym membership we haven't used since 2024.
The stars are saying cancel it. On March 3rd or around that date, look at the bank statement. Be honest. Be ruthless.
So the actionable advice here is pretty clear. Cut the dead weight.
Yes. Pay off a lingering debt if you can. Close the account that's costing you fees every month. The result of this eclipse energy is that by the month's end, if you do the work, you will feel significantly lighter. You are clearing financial clutter to make room for the new growth that the sun in Aries will bring later.
That's a really empowering way to look at it. It's not losing money, it's gaining freedom.
Exactly. You are reclaiming your resources.
Now let's pivot that conversation about value into career and professional ambitions.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at what you're worth financially, That almost always ties into your job.
The connection is direct. That March 3rd eclipse highlights personal resources, which absolutely includes your salary zone. The second house is earned income.
Okay, so it's a realization of what one's skills are truly worth.
Yes. Leos might look at their paycheck and say, wait a minute, I bring way more value to the table than this number reflects. Eclipses have a way of stripping away the illusion. So if you've been telling yourself, oh, it's okay, I'm lucky to just have a job, the eclipse might say, no, they are lucky to have you.
Is this a good time to actually do something about that? Or just to sit and be mad about it?
It is a profoundly powerful time for self-advocacy. The stars actively support asking for what is deserved. If a Leo feels underpaid, the eclipse provides the exact impetus needed to speak up. But remember that Saturn influence we talked about for later in the month. Have your data ready. Don't just demand things. Demonstrate your value.
I like that a lot. Demonstrate value. Now, once we get past the eclipse, we hit that March 20th mark again. The sun in Aries. How does that impact the career specifically?
It triggers a massive leadership surge. When the sun enters Aries, it creates a burst of professional inspiration. Aries is the pioneer, so it's not just about doing the job, it's about innovating within the job.
Like coming up with brilliant ideas for new projects.
Suddenly, the solution to that one problem that's been plaguing the team for months just appears. And because of this clarity, others will naturally look to Leo for guidance. Leo is a natural leader anyway, but this transit acts like a giant spotlight,
Which Leo loves.
which Leo naturally excels at. It is time to step up and lead with that natural charisma. They don't even have to force it. People will naturally gravitate toward their confidence during this period.
And then to put the cherry on top, we have a movement on March 30th.
Yes, Venus enters Taurus.
Now, Taurus rules the career and public image sector for Leo, right? The 10th house.
It does. And Venus represents charm, grace, and attraction. So when Venus moves into the career house, it brings what we can call a professional charm offensive.
So suddenly the boss, who is usually grumpy, is smiling at you.
Or the VIP client, who is historically impossible to get a hold of, suddenly answers the phone on the first ring. Connecting with bosses and authorities just becomes easier. Leos will be viewed as reliable, talented, and poised. Taurus is an earth sign, so it adds this beautiful layer of stability to their public image.
That sounds like a perfect time for networking.
The absolute best time. Use the end of the month to lay the groundwork for future success. Shake hands, sign deals, show your face. You look exceptionally good to the world right now.
Okay, so career looks super promising if you advocate for yourself. But let's go back to money for a second, because there's a nuance here we need to cover. We talked about personal money with the eclipse, but what about shared resources?
This is a very important distinction. In astrology, the second house is your money, but the eighth house is other people's money. So loans, taxes, inheritances, venture capital, or money shared with a partner.
And there's some tension there early in the month.
Yes. On March 2nd, Mars moves into Pisces.
Pisces is a water sign and Mars is fire. That sounds kind of steamy or messy.
It can be very messy. Mars is action and aggression. When it's in Pisces, it can be a bit scattered or emotionally charged. It's kind of like trying to run underwater. This transit activates that shared resources sector for Leo.
So high tension regarding debts or shared accounts.
High activity and definitely potential tension. A drive to resolve things quickly might lead to impulsiveness, like I just want this loan sorted out now, or let's just pay this tax bill without actually checking the math. Mars in Pisces can also be a bit deceptive. Not necessarily malicious, but details can easily get lost in the fog.
That's dangerous, especially considering it's tax season.
Very dangerous. The advice here is read the fine print. Do not sign financial documents in a rush during the first week of March. Mars in Pisces can really fog the details. If you can wait, just wait.
But there is relief coming, right? We aren't stuck in the fog forever.
No. Mid-month, specifically on March 11th, Jupiter goes direct.
Jupiter is the planet of luck and expansion.
And when it goes direct, financial delays start to clear up. If you've been waiting for a loan approval or a blocked payment or an insurance claim, March 11th is when the dam breaks. The flow returned.
That's a massive relief.
And by the time we get to that March 30th date with Venus in Taurus, a feeling of complete control over your financial destiny returns. So the narrative for money is clean house early during the eclipse. Be super careful with contracts mid-month due to Mars, and then enjoy the stability by the end.
Perfect. It's a very clear roadmap. Now let's get to the part everyone always wants to hear about. Love, relationships, romance.
It's a spicy month for Leo. I don't use that word lightly.
You said earlier that love feels like a grand adventure.
That starts right on March 6th with Venus entering Aries. We keep coming back to this date because it is so pivotal. Venus in Aries is the hunter. It's the chaser.
What's the specific vibe for love here?
Bold, passionate, direct. There is absolutely no beating around the bush. This is not the time for subtle hints or playing games.
And what about for the single Leos out there?
This is a fascinating transit for singles. Because Aries rules the ninth house for Leo, it often indicates an attraction to people from completely different backgrounds or cultures.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Because Aries energy in this specific sector for Leo is all about expansion and learning. You aren't looking for someone who is just like you. You are looking for someone who can teach you something, someone who dramatically widens your world. It could be someone from a different country or just someone with a wildly different perspective on life.
So if you're single, go to the cultural festival, or take that language class, or hit up a travel meetup.
Yes, fortune favors the brave here. Risk-taking is highly encouraged. Go up to that person who seems totally out of your usual type and just say hello. The universe is actively rewarding boldness.
And for those who are already in relationships, it's obviously not just about meeting new people.
No. For couples, the energy deepens significantly around March 10th. That is when Venus connects with Pluto.
Pluto is intense. It's the planet of transformation and the underworld.
It is. When Venus touches Pluto, you move completely past surface-level chat. You aren't asking, how is your day? You are asking, what do you fear most? Or what is your deepest unresolved dream?
Wow. So really deepening the bonds.
Extreme intimacy. It's a beautiful time to reconnect on a soul level. If there have been secrets or unspoken things in the relationship, they might come up now, but in a way that allows for genuine healing.
But there is a warning zone coming up, right?
There is a warning zone around March 18th. Venus squares Jupiter.
Square usually means conflict or tension, doesn't it?
Usually tension, yes, but with Jupiter it often means excess. Jupiter expands everything it touches. When it squares Venus, the temptation is to basically promise the moon and stars.
Like, baby, I'm going to buy you a castle in France.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, you might really mean it in that exact moment. The energy feels so expansive and optimistic. But the strict advice here is be realistic. Do not overpromise to a partner just because the adrenaline is high. You don't want to disappoint them later when that Saturn reality check hits on the 25th.
That is such good advice. Underpromise, overdeliver. Always a good rule.
Always. And then finally, on March 30th, Venus enters the public sector. Taurus. For relationships, this often means going public.
Like making it Facebook official.
Yeah.
Or I guess whatever the 2026 equivalent of that is.
Yes. Or just showing off your partner to the world. Taking them to work events, focusing heavily on shared long-term goals. It's a very proud energy. It shifts from the private intensity of Pluto to the public pride of Taurus.
Very much a look at this amazing person I'm with vibe.
Precisely. It grounds the relationship in the real world.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to something that fuels all of this, health and wellness. Because you can't have a grand adventure or a deep romance if you're stuck in bed with a cold.
And that is a very real risk early in the month.
Really? Is that because of the water energy we talked about?
Yes. The energy dip happens in early March. Mars enters Pisces on March 2nd. Pisces is a deeply psychological, dreamy, sleep-heavy sign. And it's moving through a sector for Leo, the 8th house, that governs the subconscious and deep cellular regeneration.
So Mars, the planet of energy and action, is basically taking a nap.
It's swimming underwater. The fire is severely dampened. It causes fatigue and a profound need for introspection. Add in the lunar eclipse on March 3rd, which is physically draining for everyone, but especially for Leo, because it's on their axis.
So you might just feel completely wiped out, like bone deep tired.
You might, and the absolute worst thing you can do is try to push through it with high-intensity interval training or something like that.
So no marathons on March 3rd.
Please no, your body will rebel. Avoid strenuous workouts early in the month. The advice is gentle movement only. Walking, stretching, restorative yoga. Swimming would actually be fantastic. Just lean right into the water energy.
And drink a ton of water.
Lots of water. Get as much sleep as you can. Your body is doing some very deep processing.
But we know the fire eventually returns.
It does. The vitality return is on March 20th with the sun in Aries. It's genuinely like a resurrection.
A glorious return of their natural fire.
Energy just soars. You wake up on March 20th and you feel like you actually can run that marathon. That is the time to start a new sport or kick off a new exercise routine. The body wants to move, it wants to sweat, it wants to compete.
But with a small caution for the end of the month?
Yes, the March 25th Sun-Saturn meeting. Saturn rules bones, joints, and teeth. So when it meets the sun, there's a definite risk of stiffness or even injury if you aren't careful.
So exercise, but really watch your form. Don't lift with your back.
Exactly. Be incredibly mindful of your joints. Warm up properly. Saturn demands that you respect the absolute limits of your physical form.
Okay, let's talk about the people around our Leos. Social dynamics and compatibility. Who is the best person for a Leo to hang out with this month?
The gold star goes to Libra.
Libra, the sign of balance. Why Libra?
It is a perfect elemental mix. Libra is air. Leo is fire. Air feeds fire. When Venus enters Aries on March 6th, it creates this massive burst of passion that Libra absolutely loves. Libra is ruled by Venus, remember, so they are very attuned to that specific planetary shift.
So they are totally on the same wavelength.
Completely. And the moon enters Libra on March 4th, setting a tone of harmony and fun right from the start of the month. They both love to be social. They both love aesthetics. They essentially make a perfect team for social gatherings right now.
And I see a note about a Sun-Uranus connection on March 18th.
Yes, that promises a sudden, very exciting adventure together. If the Leo says, let's go on a road trip right now, the Libra is the one who says, I'll grab the snacks, let's go. They are totally up for the spontaneity.
That sounds of a blast. Now, who should they maybe avoid? Who is the worst match for March?
Proceed with extreme caution around Scorpio.
Scorpio, the mysterious scorpion. Why the clash?
It's the classic clash of light and shadow. Leo wants to shine, Scorpio wants to hide. They are both fixed signs, meaning they are both incredibly stubborn.
And the moon enters Scorpio on March 7th.
Which brings out intensely secretive feelings. Leo is naturally open-hearted and wants to share. They just don't understand why Scorpio is being so quiet or brooding.
And what about that Mars and Pisces energy we talked about earlier?
That affects Scorpio deeply because Scorpio is also a water sign. They may hold grudges or feel slighted very easily early in the month. Leo wants to move forward. Scorpio is looking backward at who wronged them.
And then the Saturn alignment.
On March 25th, when the sun meets Saturn, Scorpio can become very controlling or demanding. Leo's proud spirit will reject that instantly.
Oh yeah, Leo does not like to be told what to do.
Especially not by someone trying to control them emotionally. Leo wants praise and fun. Scorpio wants deep psychological digging. It's just stressful.
So maybe reschedule the coffee date with your Scorpio friend for April.
Or just keep it very light and very short. Don't get into deep emotional territory.
Got it. Okay, for the Leos who love the specifics, let's run through the Leo cheat sheet for March 2026. What are the lucky numbers?
Pens ready. The numbers are 1, 10, 17, 28, 39, and 50.
I see a lot of 1s and 10s there. Very fitting for the sign that wants to be number 1.
Indeed. The number 1 is directly associated with the sun, their ruler.
And the best dates?
Mark your calendars for March 4th for harmony and fun. That's the Libra moon. March 6th is the big one. Venus enters Aries and the adventure begins. And March 20th, the absolute peak confidence day with the sun in Aries.
And finally, color magic. What color should Leos be wearing or surrounding themselves with?
Gold.
Of course it is.
The code is HEX, FFFD700, if you happen to be a digital designer.
It's so fitting for the royal sign.
It is. It's a direct symbol of the solar power that returns later in the month. It attracts abundance and radiates that natural warmth that Leo is so famous for.
I love it. Wear the gold jewelry, get the gold phone case.
Embrace the royalty.
So as we wrap up this analysis, let's analyze the whole picture one more time.
Yeah.
What is one final thought on how to navigate this month?
I want to go back to the sandwich effect we kind of hinted at earlier.
The sandwich effect.
Imagine the month is a sandwich. The bread on one side is the deep introspection and the cleaning house of the eclipse in Mars and Pisces. That's the first week. The bread on the exact opposite side is the display reality check of Saturn at the end of the month.
And the filling.
The filling is that incredibly creamy, spicy center of fiery adventure in the middle. The Venus in Aries. The sun in Aries.
It sounds delicious.
It is. But you have to get through the crust to get to the good stuff, and the bottom slice holds it all together. Don't rush the beginning. Let the eclipse do its necessary work. Enjoy the middle fully. Take the risk. And respect the structure at the end. If you do that, you get the best of absolutely everything.
That is fantastic advice. Don't skip the crust, folks.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an incredibly detailed look at March 2026 for Leo. I feel like I know exactly what to do, and I'm not even a Leo.
It's going to be a truly powerful month for them.
And, thinking about all this, it makes me wonder if that Saturn reality check at the end of the month isn't actually a restriction at all. Maybe the structure Saturn brings is actually the most liberating part of the entire transit, because it finally gives all that fiery Leo passion a safe container to actually grow in long term. Something to mull over.
That is a brilliant way to frame it.
Thank you so much for breaking it all down for us. And to you listening, thank you for tuning in to this analysis on Horoscope TV. We hope this guide helps you navigate the fire and the fog of the coming month.
Absolutely. Navigate wisely.
If you enjoyed this analysis and want to make sure you catch the forecast for the other signs or for next month, please make sure to subscribe so that you can get notified when the next episode is available. Until then, keep looking up.